Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk about how to manage stress. So, what is stress? Well, it's a subjective experience that's predicated on physiological and psychological activities. So, the point of a stress response is to prepare your body to act quickly or behave in a manner that allows you to avoid danger, given that a dangerous stimulus has been sensed in the environment. And so, what happens? Physiologically, you have increased heart rate, increased respiration, and maybe you start sweating, and your body heat, your body temperature increases. You also have some hormonal activities because you have adrenaline that starts pumping through your body, and so you have this heightened awareness. Now, stress is helpful again in that it enables you to act quickly, but if maintained over a prolonged duration, it can be detrimental. It can inhibit your ability to heal different damaged tissues in your body. It can impair your ability to fight off infections. And so stress is useful in the short term, particularly because it uses or because it enables you to defend yourself or avoid something if you need to. But it uses a lot of energy in the short term at the cost of the long term. Stress in itself is neutral, meaning it's not positive or negative, it's not pleasant or painful, but the stressors that can trigger stress can be positively or negatively valenced. And what I want to focus on in this video is the negative aspect of the emotional coloring that can lead to stress. And so, what do I mean by that? Well, emotions are signals to your body that you need to act in a specific way, generally approach or avoid because something has just happened in the environment or something has been sensed in the environment, or you thought about something that made your body think that there was actually something that needed to be reacted to. And so negative emotions can lead us to stress ourselves out more than we need to. And a particular emotion I want to talk about is anxiety. So anxiety is what happens when we encounter something that's negative and unexpected. So negative in that it's painful or it's punishing. Even the anticipation of pain or punishment can be construed generally as something negative. And then it's unexpected, meaning that as we're going through life, we're always making predictions and projecting our desires and expectations out into the world. And so we have this internal model of the world. And what we try to do is we hope that the data that we receive, the sense data that we receive from the world matches our internal model. And when everything's matching, then everything's working just fine. And we're essentially certain about our actions and the environment. But when there's a mismatch between our internal model, so what we expect and what we desire, and the outside world, what's actually happening, what manifests is called a prediction error, and this is a gap in our knowledge, and it reflects uncertainty, it reflects our ignorance, and it makes us anxious. And so why does it make us anxious? Well, if your internal model of the world, so your knowledge, is insufficient, if your map of the territory is incorrect, well, then the next step you make might be fatal. And so what happens when you're anxious is that you freeze and then you get heightened attention. And then typically afterwards, you start to explore gradually to retool your knowledge of the world or your map of the territory. And so anxiety signals uncertainty, our ignorance, and potentially something dangerous. And that's where the stress part can come in. So what are some ways that we can mitigate anxiety, perhaps use it to our benefit, with the purpose of reducing this component of stress? Again, stress in itself is not, a good thing or a bad thing. It's a response to the environment. If it's prolonged, then yes, it can be a bad thing. But when we're going out, what I'm talking about now, as far as the emotional stress, that's different from the voluntary stress that we put in our body from running and lifting weights and doing sauna or cold therapy. I don't know what you guys do, but right now I'm really just focusing on this negative emotion aspect of stress. So a few tips that I would offer here. Well, one is to set a clear goal, and there's a few reasons for that. One, when you see yourself approaching a goal or making progress towards a positive goal, then you get what's called incentive reward, and this is dopaminergically mediated, and so that's dopamine, and that's positive emotion. That's one form of positive emotion which can help offset negative emotion. And now the other reason that it's useful to set a clear goal is that one of the ways we conceptualize the world broadly in two categories, it's, the objects in the world are things that can help us or things that can hurt us, and we want to approach the things that can help us and avoid the things that can hurt us. But the key point that allows that to be true and functional is that things can help you or hurt you in relation to your goal. And so if you don't set a goal, it might well be that everything can hurt you, and that can make you anxious. And so setting a goal helps you properly categorize, the things that you're sensing in the world. And much of this happens unconsciously. And so if you can really dial in and make a goal specific and clear and explicit, that can help influence your more implicit structures that are helping you navigate the world. Another tip that I would give would be to use a tracker for whatever goals that you have in mind. And so specifically for marathon training, I track all of my miles and my workouts, and I can see my fitness building, or I can see, where I'm perhaps messing up. And so that the tracker, one, enables me to learn and correct my planning and my behaviors so that way I can make progress at a greater rate. But two, it also makes the progress explicit to me. And also, third, I guess it's also just a helpful accountability plan. You can share your tracker with your friends, and then you get some real good social peer pressure to help you achieve those goals. And again, to the degree that we see ourselves achieving our goals, we get positive emotion, which can help reduce our anxiety. A third tip that I would offer would be to confront the things that make you anxious. So these would be, again, things that are painful, things that are frustrating, that are punishing. And it could even just be signals or anticipation of these painful things. And so for me, I get anxious, more specifically, I get kind of afraid, kind of fearful when I know that I have a big workout coming up, either a long 23-mile run or, a 20-mile plus workout at marathon pace. I'm a little anxious about those runs because in part because I'm anticipating the pain that I'm going to have to endure as I'm making my way through that workout. And so it's better to voluntarily confront those moments in those instances of fear and anxiety, because there's one experiment shown where if you have two rats in a mechanism as such where when one rat voluntarily runs, the second rat involuntarily runs, so the first rat forces the second rat to run, even though they're both running at the same pace and speed, therefore the same aerobic stimulus is being applied to them, there were more pathological and detrimental effects that were associated with the rat that was involuntarily running compared to the rat that was voluntarily running. And so it seems that when you voluntarily confront something that, even maybe it's going to be, it's going to cause some sort of suffering, or it's going to be difficult, it's better to have an attitude of, growth and opportunity and learning and just leaning forward into that rather than, kind of being taken aback by it or confronting it involuntarily. So those are my tips, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave some comments down below if you have any feedback, and I'll talk to you in the next video.